So real proper, like I just want to thank and welcome everybody real quick. This is a very impromptu removing layer episode where we touching on the Ahmaud Arbery case based upon a lot of conversation on the computer. Now I don't want to dominate the conversation, but just to give a recap for those who may not know, this was a case that was in Georgia where a young man was reported that he was jogging through a neighborhood. And then we saw video of him being gunned down by two white men, a father and son that have ties to Confederacy, racist type ties. And then the world kind of pushed it as a racially motivated hate crime. And then there was a whole different conversation about some other stuff. So real quick, Sean, I'm gonna start with you. How do you feel about the overall situation?
Overall situation, I feel like a black man being gunned down by two white men who are, whether they are law enforcement or not, I just thought it was wrong the way they shot and killed him. Well, period.
Period. Now, I agree. Okay. Malik, what about you? Anything you want to touch on about the overall case
Let me call you back.
before we get into details?
Bro, I don't even know what's happening, man. I'm just trying to figure it all out. You know, I'm overseas, man. I'm like,
So have you seen any of the videos? Oh, he went out. Oh, Roger, while he getting back on, what about you? Any points you want to touch on? You on mute, bro.
You back. Let him finish.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
okay. Nah, I woke up to you and Shorty going at it, and I said, okay. Then that sent me down the rabbit hole of the new video. This
Okay.
Tuesday morning over here.
So have you saw all the videos yet?
Yeah, I saw him this morning, man, and it's kind of it's crazy because I saw that, and then my man Adib sent me the video of the link of who the prosecutor is gonna be. And I feel like these boys about to get off for real. It's too much now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Now,
just-
you Roger, what about you? Any points about the overall case, situation, murder? Let's call it what it is.
Hey man, you know I'm controversial. I kind of rock with. I think you got to see things from more than just your personal perspective in order to really get the right interpretation. So, you know, for me, black man, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. I frequently do my cardio around the neighborhood. And so when you first see the story and you first see the video, the first thing that comes to your mind just because of, you know, a black man's experience is, dang, I'm at risk. Now, once you learn what we learned today, you understand that, and that's for most of us as black men, especially in America, a lot of us understand that, yo, the situation here with racism and brutality and all of that stuff, hate crimes, that exists. And so we have to move in such a way that doesn't put us in the position to be more susceptible to it. It's the same thing with the coronavirus. You're not gonna put yourself in the position to get it. Like, if you see a whole bunch of people coughing, you ain't gonna walk over there because you know you might get it. Same
Yeah,
thing.
but you just said some shit, Roger. I think a lot of black people are gonna be pissed by that comment. But before we get into the comment, I wanted to give Latisse a chance to just touch on just the overall case itself before we get into some specifics. But I know, Roger, what you just said, we could spend 13 hours on. But before we do that, I want to be fair to her. So, my dear, if you can hear me, how do you feel overall about what's going on?
Honestly, I feel like since the video has come out with him inside the house, I feel like they're probably going to get off because of the video, because they're going to say, well, he was in the wrong. He wasn't supposed to be there anyway. But I have 3 nephews. And the way I look at it is, I feel like my nephews should be able to walk, run, do whatever they want to do. Like, I know earlier today you were saying that he was in the house for 3 minutes, but it was nothing in the house for him to take.
shitting me. You don't do that. It was drywall. It was sheetrock. It was all kind of shit in there. Not saying that. And again, he didn't take nothing, but people steal all kind of shit. You see what I'm saying? So I don't feel like that's fair. Meaning they want nothing in the house to steal. But let me let you finish though. Go ahead.
Okay, right. And so like I love like looking in different people's houses. So I go riding around and I will go look inside of houses that are being built, things like that. I don't feel like it's wrong that for you to do that just because I want to see what the house looks like or whatever, or if a house is for sale. I don't feel like that is wrong. Personally, I don't feel like that is wrong. I feel like they were hunting this guy, and that is why they basically shot and killed him. Just like the other guy that was videotaping it, he came out saying he don't know why he was videotaping. You do know why you was videotaping. You was with the other two guys. That's why.
Or he saw their ass chasing that nigga down the street. Now,
right.
I will say, because like I said, I ruffled a few feathers today. Let me be clear before we get started. In no way, shape, form, fashion do I condone them killing that man. Nothing they did was right. And nothing he did justified them hunting him down the street.
Exactly.
I want to start there. But for me, what started changing my narrative was when I saw the video of the house across the street. And again, we being subjective. I don't even know if this is the fucking house. I'm just going by what's put out there and what's being shown like everybody else. The first video we saw was a 7-second clip of him inside the home. And he was just looking around. I get that. But today when I saw the video, I had the narrative of a black man exercising, got gunned down while he's exercising. The video I saw is completely different than that. That man was strolling down the street. And to be quite honest, coming from the place that I come from, seeing theft firsthand, I felt like, and again, who am I to judge? But he was kind of snooping a little bit. Then what I saw was he took off into that garage. That nigga beeline to the garage, right? Now, what also was called out is that not only was he in the home, but he came back out the home, peeped around, went back in the home. He was in the home for 3 minutes. And granted, so what? But in my personal opinion, this is not a construction site. This is not a new neighborhood they're building. This man has physical neighbors on every side of him and on the other side of the street. Meaning, this is a neighborhood where people know people. This is not a neighborhood where homes are being sold and this and that. And again, no justification. But what I also saw was not the people who gunned him down, but a neighbor across the street was standing in their driveway, seeing what the fuck was going on. And then they went to confront the man. And as soon as they tried to confront him, that nigga took off like a speed of lightning. Again, no justification for anybody to then go down the street and gun this man down. But the only thing I'm saying is the shit look suspect as hell.
Suspect as hell.
Okay, so we do agree on that.
I don't give a damn if he stole the whole damn house and put it on his back and was running down the street. I don't care.
But are you comfortable with this whole?
Whoa, and that's fine. Your job is to call 911. That's what we have them for.
Nah, Shauna,
okay.
I'm just saying. That's how I feel. That's all. That's how I feel.
I'm not saying that you're wrong for that because, from my perspective, I agree that he shouldn't have been gunned down. That's never been my argument. I feel some type of way about the racism involved. I feel some type of way about the fact that he was gunned down. I don't think that should have happened. I'm with Jay. I don't agree with none of that. This is my thing. I'm in real estate wholesaling and investing, right? So there have been many times when, you get a house, you fixing it up, and you leave and come back the next day. And you come back the next day and somebody that came up in there and took your drywall, took your all of that stuff. So the thing, my issue is that my issue with the situation and my issue, and I'm guilty of it too, because when I first seen it, I jumped. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to jump when I see something like that. And and there's a knee-jerk reaction, but there's always a responsibility on our part to get all of the facts. Now, while he shouldn't have been gunned down, I've been in situations where I see a house, it looks like it's vacant, the door is unlocked, and I want to see what the house looked like. So I walk in there. But if somebody come, I ain't taking off running because I ain't doing nothing.
Right.
If somebody come in and say, like, what you doing over here? I'm like, hey, I'm a real estate wholesaler investor. I'm just checking out the property. I'm sorry. And, you know, I diffuse it like that because I don't have nothing to run for. But when you take off running, you make yourself look guilty. And we're already in a socio-political climate to where we're guilty before we start running. So to a racist white man, when I start running, to him, that in his mind, that says, oh yeah, he's definitely guilty. And in his mind, he about to take action. So my perspective on it is that rest in peace Ahmaud, and them moms need to go to jail for life or get the death penalty or whatever. However, we still have a responsibility as Black people to understand the climate that we're living in and make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves and to protect our families. We're like, this dude 25 years old running around and, you know, his mom get a call later on. It's like, so you got your 25-year-old son with you and you don't even know where he at. He dead and you don't even know.
Now, Danielle, you just joined. What are your overall thoughts? Piggyback off of what Roger said. Well, welcome to the party.
Hi. Thank you. So, I mean, I do understand what he's saying. I mean, I get that. I get the whole perspective of that. I think we all understand what you guys are saying. I think a lot of people are not ready to face that fact. I think so, like for me, I'm just right now living in the fact that he's gone. I think that you guys are just in another perspective. You guys are kind of moving past that part. But for me, I'm still stuck in the first phase of it. Like, okay, he got killed and the fact that he did not take anything. Now, if I go deeper and I think about it, yeah, of course he shouldn't have been there. And we all know that he shouldn't have been in there. But for me, go ahead.
No, finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but for me, I totally get what you're saying. But for me, it's too early to talk about it.
I feel like that's fair, and you're the first person who said that. Now, Malik, based upon what you've heard, and the reason why I called you out, because my man is in Australia. Like I said, a lot of this information is new to him. But based upon, and again, that's not necessarily fair to you, but based upon what you heard, what's your temperature on this situation?
I mean, excuse the background, but I think that it's crazy. It's just crazy to see all this happening. Cause I'm somewhere where pretty much it's safe. Like you ain't got to worry about it. Like if the whole nation would stop if that shit happened in Australia. So just being, and I've been away for about 15 years, so it's kind of like when I look at that shit, it's just like I'm looking through a telescope. You know what I mean? But all of my family still, you know, live in those areas or whatever. So part of me is just kind of like I'm sick of like the same shit. It's always the same story. It's always like we get really emotional on the front end, but then when the facts come out, we be like, okay, he was just being a nigga. And I think we give ourselves I don't know. I think we excuse people too much. I don't know if that all makes sense. I think we excuse behavior and we try to rationalize white supremacy based on shit that we just like my man said, you should be able to just flow up in a vacant house and you know, see what you need to see and then make your move without feeling like you're a criminal. And like even here, like even now, if I go shopping, I shop at 2 or 3 stores, and mind you, I've been away from America for like 15 years. If I should go shopping at 2 or 3 stores, I feel like I gotta justify that I didn't buy certain shit in a certain store to people who not even thinking like that. They ain't even thinking like that over here. So I'm just like, yeah, I just want to let you know I got this from, you know, Aldi, and you know, we at Woolworths now, and this didn't come from Woolworths. And I just feel like there's a lot of play over there. Yeah, they got Woolworths.
No, I think that's a dope point. I mean, And Shauna, but I'm just go to you because I know you want to touch on a few things. Where you at?
What's your name? Roger, the real estate gentleman. Did you say
Yeah,
Roger?
Roger.
Hi, Roger. So I guess I have a question. With what you said, you indicated that we as Black people or Black men, we need to be careful, or we need to know I guess the world that we live in. So certain things we just shouldn't do because of the world we live in. Is that almost?
That's not really.
I'm asking.
It's not about any sort of restriction. It's not about there's certain things that we shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that any living thing that's being hunted, there is a strategy that living thing has that is built in to their existence. So if you're a gazelle, your DNA has a certain strategy. So when you hear certain things and you see, or you might see a lion on the horizon, or you might smell some lion breath from somewhere, there's something inside of you that is strategic. There's something inside of you that's strategic I got a phone call, got my headphones in, but there's something inside of you that is more strategic, and it's internal, it's instinctive, but it's strategic, and it's like, I have to figure out a way to not die in this situation because this is a situation that I'm in.
And see, me, I mean, not to cut you off, but I don't necessarily take it that far. Meaning, I feel like as a Black man, you should be able to go into a construction site, look around, all of that shit. But my thing is, based upon what the fuck I seen, that's not what I saw. The nigga took off running. Like,
why you can't run? Shit, if I see two white people come after me,
no, you didn't see two white people. You saw homeowners checking on neighbor's property.
That's not what he said. But here's the thing. The neighbor, Jeremy, the neighbor did what he was supposed to do. Those white guys had no right. Like who the hell gave them the right to do that? Like the neighbor did what he was supposed to do. He asked. Like that's what I would expect them to do.
And
ask,
we agree on that. And I'm not disagreeing with that point. The problem that I have,
white men kill Black men.
Hold on. The problem that I have, if we being very specific, and what got us to this point is, I feel like we as Blacks will subscribe to whatever they tell us to subscribe to, especially when it comes to a narrative of Black versus white. These were some racist ass people who committed a murder. We can say that proudly, not proudly, but we can say that factually, but we can also say that this man just won't jogging through a fucking neighborhood. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It can be both. It can be both. It can be the fact that he was in the wrong, and when confronted about potentially being, let me say, he was potentially in the wrong. And when confronted about it, he did the one thing you should not do, which is take off. And so in my opinion, I don't think it's fair for us Blacks to say this man was simply jogging down the street and was gunned down. That shit is not what the fuck.
I don't think it's right.
It's right. We're not
correct.
It's right. But I think this is the only reason why I spoke up today, because I feel like for me, this is the one case that I feel like I know we're going to win on this case. And when I say win, I feel like every other case that I've seen from the beginning, I'm like, oh, it's no hope in that one. It's no hope in that one. So I'm not saying that you're wrong and that Ahmaud was not doing right and he shouldn't have ran and everything. I just felt like I just got offended because I felt like this one case that I know that we're going to probably come on top of, I just wanted you to just lay back on this case and just let it play out.
I mean,
and then let's talk about it.
To be honest, the reason why I didn't lay back on it, because I don't feel this is a layup like people think. Even though this was a senseless murder, at the end of the day, we still talking about people property in a state that has a stand your ground law. And granted, I think that's some complete bullshit, and I think it's wrong, and I think these men should go to jail. But what I am saying is we got to open our eyes to what actually happened and how these white men could potentially get off. Because like I said, it looked suspect and it is trespassing. You see what I'm saying? That does not justify, and it's a tragedy, and I get what you're saying. We need to come together, but I want us to come together based around fact, not just emotion. Because we got an election coming up, and I feel like a lot of people just follow the leader. And right now, you got a lot of black people that is promoting reasons why we should vote for Donald Trump, and sometimes sound very convincing in doing so. But what I'm saying is, if we continue just to follow each other about what's trendy or what somebody else is fighting for, we're gonna miss the boat, and something like this can turn into something like that. That's kind of my issue.
Well, I just think that as a people, we don't really ever come up with a real strategy on how to protect our young men and how to protect our black men, because we don't want to, what we don't want to do is restrict. We want to say we should be able to do whatever we want. Well, nobody should be able to do whatever they want. Like, they wanted to kill some black people and they did it. So the thing is that everybody got to have restrictions. For me, I got two young black men growing up in my house. I'm a black man. It's like there has to be some sort of strategy. If that boy was alive after that, let's just say they shot him and he didn't die, and that was my son, you know what I would have said to him? I'd have said, what the hell was you doing in that house?
Nah, that's some bullshit though, Roger. And that's
I would have said that.
Nah, not that part of it. But I think what I hear when you talk, I feel like you giving justification of why they killed this man.
I'm not though.
I'm telling you how it potentially
That's what it sounds.
Meaning,
no, that's how it sounded when you came out today. That's how it sounded from everybody. I'm keeping it real.
I wouldn't have been in that house down in rural Georgia though. I don't care what nobody say. You got to know better than that. I wouldn't have been in that house with the rednecks down in Georgia and Alabama, walking through no house. Ain't nothing in there but an L for me.
We know, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Ain't in there but an L.
We know.
Y'all know that. You guys know that, because you guys are on a different place in your life right now. Y'all was once a mod.
Nah, he know too though. Let's keep it real.
25.
That nigga know. That nigga's been to jail before, and I'm not bringing up his criminal past or nothing. But he's been in the system. He know how this shit go. You not supposed to be in those people's house.
And you still not supposed to be killed because you are in the house.
Okay, and they gonna get theirs. They gonna get. Well, I hope they get theirs. I hope they go.
You said their house. It wasn't their house. It was not their house. They didn't have to defend the house. That was not their house.
Yeah.
No, y'all not.
One thing we gotta all know though is that white man don't respect nothing we say.
Clearly.
And hold on one sec, y'all. We got 2 new people join. I know Duck joined and somebody else joined, so I wanted to welcome them to the party and then give them a chance to speak on it.
I just feel like we live in.
Hold on, Roger. Let the new folk get in, and then we're gonna go right back to you. Duck, what you got?
Yo.
What's your opinion?
I just turned in, but like my man said, if it been my child and he would have lived, I'd have said, what you doing in that house? You had no business up there. Hands down, bro. I mean, the way it looked, did he deserve to die? No. But if it was my child, I'd have whooped his ass for being in there. He had no business up there.
And you should.
I done been in the house as a kid, but he's 25 years old, bro. He a grown man.
Grown man.
You
would have beat his ass, but you wouldn't have killed him.
Oh no!
But okay.
No, that's not what he. I get
what he's saying.
Yeah. I.
But if I would have been a citizen making an arrest on my street, because I just seen somebody coming out of my neighbor house that didn't belong in there, and I'm an old man, and I got my rifle, and I said, "Hey, boy, you better stop." And he charged me. Now we fighting for this gun. Something gonna happen, man. Somebody gonna get shot.
Yeah.
If you kept running,
the difference is you a black man. You got arrested on sight.
I wouldn't have hunted him down. I wouldn't have shot him. He would have kept running. I would have kept trying to wait till police get there. But I'm trying to keep him out of my neighbor's home. And if he charged me, he's stronger than me. Now I'm scared now. Because he get this gun, he gonna kill me. But a lot of times we just stay out, call the police and stay out of it.
That's it. That's your job. Call the police and
That's
stay
your
out of it.
job.
Now,
Yeah, but
Here's
the
the
thing
thing.
is, somebody breaking my house, though.
But it's not
You
your
can't
house.
leave. You
but at the
can't leave.
same time, my
If I
neighbor's
get you
house
down
too,
the
though.
street, I
We
can
a
get you down the
community.
street.
You
Man,
will be
you
in
talking
community,
like
but
a
I'm not
homeowner
defending my.
now. That's the thing about it. You a homeowner, you talking like just a homeowner right now. And that's the whole thing about it. Amar's not thinking like you're thinking. You're in a different stage of your life
But
right
yeah,
now.
that's what
You
I'm
talk,
saying.
All
he's not
right.
there
Before we
yet,
get too
y'all.
deep, who
Period.
joined on the iPhone? I want to give you an opportunity. I can't see your name.
Hey, this thing, bro.
Oh, Faye. Oh, he just listened. I got you. All right. Now, I had
What up,
somebody
Faye?
else join.
I
Welcome to
had
the
invited
party.
a law enforcement officer in here.
We got somebody that just joined. So if you join, say hello and get into the party.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo, what's up, bro?
That's Sharp. He law enforcement.
Oh, what's going on?
What's up, champ? I don't know why it's not showing my video up here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You got any opinions? We kind of all over the place as far as conversation, but if you got anything to add, please jump right in.
Yeah, man. I think it's very complex. Like I said, I made a post yesterday, man. I've seen a lot of people showing this new evidence, this new video, as if it really changes the deep-rooted narrative of what's going on. And I think it doesn't change. It changed the fact that it may show that he wasn't just jogging, but I think it doesn't show the fact that this is still something that needs to be changed. If there's a law in regards to private citizens' arrest, I think it still shows that there's flaws in the system. And if so, then we have to change those things to put something better in place in regards to those private citizens' arrests. We don't have those rights in North Carolina, but Georgia being so, I think that the law is very general in regards to what it can do. It says you can make a private arrest based upon a felony, but it doesn't show how you can make that arrest. Is it by physical force only? Is it by deadly force? Because we know that citizens don't have the same rights to use deadly force as law enforcement. So knowing the deep-rooted issues we have with law enforcement already and how we need to change deadly force and how it's been viewed over the last 5, 6, 20 years, we don't want citizens to have those same rights because they don't go through the necessary training that law enforcement do. We're already telling law enforcement that we need to be more trained. So now, how more trained do citizens have to be if they're going to have the same type of citizens arrest to make as a law enforcement officer would be? So those are some deep-rooted issues that you really have to fix.
Right now, based upon that, not to cut you off, how do you think this particular situation is going to play itself out as far as the courts?
I think how this is going to play itself out is that if they try to charge these two with, let's say, first-degree murder, I think it's going to be very hard. You're going to have to prove those elements. You're going to have to prove ill will. You got to prove malice. You got to prove premeditation. If the prosecution is able to prove those 3 factors, then I think they can get murdered. But if they're not able to prove that and they try to go in there and don't have that evidence to present, they probably won't win the case versus trying to go for a lesser charge, which would be manslaughter, which is not going to be murder. I think the minimum sentence for manslaughter may be 2 years. If they try to go for manslaughter, I'm probably sure they'll probably get it, as well as a wrongful death, a civil suit. But if they just go in for murder and they look at the evidence, they don't have everything, they try to charge it as murder or second degree, you could probably see these guys walk.
Oh, wow.
Hey, check this out, though. I just thought about this. All they're going to do is show the health records of them 2 white boys and then show a video of that nigga at 24-hour fitness throwing up that 225 and say that these old white men didn't have a chance with this black stud. And then that case going out. When that's Georgia, you got to look at it. It's Georgia. In Georgia, there's no rights that a black man has that a white man gotta respect. So there's a lot of historic and current stuff that's going on in Georgia. They just building the case. They changing public opinion. And Jeremy, you see with these new videos, they changed a little bit of how we care about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like we looking at it like, hold on now, what was this nigga really up to? As opposed to, the nigga had some Puma shorts and he went for a jog. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah, I think I don't think this case gonna last long, especially in Georgia. 2 white men versus a black dude with a record in their neighborhood. Come on.
Did he have a criminal record? Did he have a criminal record?
I think so, but I hate to bring. I even hate to bring that up, but I mean, I think so.
He had a couple things, but I think, man, for like, what I think a lot of us are missing sometimes, though, is just the whole idea and concept of the fact that we can't really, as Black people, we can't really depend on the system or law enforcement to protect us. You know what I'm saying? We have to have some sort of strategy, right? We have to have something that we do because we know we're more at risk. I mean, we live in a country where white people kill Black people. White police kill Black people for nothing. So if I know that, then how I move has to be based on that fact. So I live in a neighborhood. I've been here 4 years, man, and my neighbors know me. But anytime there's somebody new, one of the things that I do is I make sure I introduce myself. I make sure that when I see a face that I don't recognize, I go and I introduce myself and I tell them, hey, I have 3 kids. I have 2 sons and a daughter. If you ever see them, those are my kids. I try to make sure that people see my kids and people see me with my kids because of the fact that there has to be some sort of strategy beyond, oh, they're not supposed to do it, so I'm gonna trust they're not gonna do it.
Right.
Any white person might kill your son for nothing.
Now,
Latice,
I'm gonna change the narrative just a little bit, and I'm gonna ask you: if this was a Black man who was shot by a Black father and a son, would this be the same conversation?
No, they'd be in jail.
I ain't asked you, Roger. I asked Latice.
My bad, bro. Shit.
Roger, sit back.
Oh, she on the phone. Okay, Danielle, answer that question.
Would it be the same? No, it wouldn't.
Why?
No,
For
if you want to go personal for me, no.
So the white man shooting the Black man affects you different than the Black man shooting the Black man.
Yeah, yeah, it does. What do you mean? That's an obvious question. Yeah, it does.
That's not obvious. A white man shooting a Black man don't affect me more than a Black man shooting a Black man. They both the same to me.
That's you. Okay, but for
so,
me,
I'm saying you said it was obvious.
Okay, but for me, well, I think it's obvious. I think that sometimes I think it's obvious for all of us. Let's keep it 100. I think sometimes you take yourself out of the
the realm of logic.
Yeah,
Shauna, but you Shauna, speak on that.
I'm gonna be pissed. I'm actually more afraid of my son being killed by another Black man than I am from a white man, and that's me.
Well, explain. I'm curious.
I say because my brother was murdered by another Black man, so I'm fearful of my son going outside and being killed by one of his peers or colleagues or another Black man. And that's just my opinion. I'm afraid of that. I'm totally afraid of that. And I've expressed that on many, many occasions.
And all right, Latice, you back or you on the phone?
I'm good.
All right, I wanted to give you that. If Black son and father in the same situation kill another Black man, do you think your reaction would be different or the world's reaction would be different?
I totally think that the world's reaction would probably be different. But for me, I'm just like Shauna. I got 3 little nephews and they are my world and I don't care. I would be just as pissed as if it was a white man because either way it's wrong. Murder is murder in my eyes. It does not matter. Like, I would still find it wrong.
Man, I think the biggest difference between it being a Black man and a white man, and the difference between the outrage would be when a Black person gets shot by a Black person in the hood, right? There's yellow tape around the perimeter, there's a helicopter, and there's police everywhere. I don't care what the story was, self-defense, whatever. It's a manhunt, they trying to find who did it, and they taking them to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's the biggest difference because I feel like because it was white people, they went 2 months without being arrested because they had connects in there. They told their story, they got their side out, and boom. So that's the problem I have. That's the biggest difference for me because I'm like, a Black man would have been in jail, bro, whether he did it self-defense or not.
Now, Duck, you on here? Let me ask you this, Duck.
Yeah.
Is it fair for us as black people to talk about black on black crimes in the midst of this situation? Is that even fair?
Crime is crime, bro.
Crime is crime.
You gotta right and wrong is wrong, man. That's the bottom line. I mean, if you want to have something to talk about and choose a side, okay, choose right and wrong, bro. I mean, color gonna always play a part. It shouldn't, but just how we built, just how we was raised. We was taught that, you know what I'm saying, we should be inferior. Or when we do get in power, they gonna be scared of us. And so, but right is right and wrong is wrong, man. And in the way to justify. I mean, like I say, they couldn't let the boy keep running, or he should have just kept running. But when he engaged them, were they scared or not? Did they want to kill him? If they was gonna kill him, they was gonna kill him whether he stood still or ran or not.
Why not just keep running?
Keep running, man. Keep running, bro.
Why not just keep running? Why?
Like
hold up. If you're not doing nothing, why run?
What are you talking about?
What the hell? Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me right now?
Listen. If I'm in Target, right? If I'm in Target and the security guard rolls up on me and says, "Hey, you stealing," and I'm not stealing, you think I'm gonna take off and run out?
Roger may not.
What are you, Roger?
Roger may not.
Talking about right now? What? No. Let's talk.
I'm not running if I ain't doing
Hold on, let
nothing.
her hear out, Roger. She about to check you. Let her check you. Go ahead.
No.
I'm not. No, Roger.
Uncheckable.
I'm gonna check you.
Check them.
I'm not checking you, Roger, because I'm not here for that. All I'm saying is, are we not? You mean to tell me if the man didn't do anything, he's unarmed, he's in the back rows of Georgia, and two white men are coming after him because he already know that they think that he basically was in there doing something wrong. He supposed to just say, ho,
I didn't do that.
No, I don't say
I don't
that.
think this kid died if you don't.
But I think for me, he ran well.
Sorry.
Wait,
he ran well before that though, meaning
Exactly.
We are not abyss to crime, meaning we see theft. And at the same time, if you are in a neighborhood surrounded by neighbors, you're not at a construction site.
Oh, here
you
we
got
go
neighbors on every side of you.
If you say neighbor one more time, we get it. You're a
Listen.
homeowner.
Hold on. But if the neighbors come out and say, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? And
you're not doing nothing wrong.
None of your damn business. Go inside and call 911.
You can't do that. Do you want your neighbor to do that if they see somebody in your house?
You're not in my house. You're in my neighbor's house.
To find out because you don't know if they got a gun or not.
Oh, so let me say this. Let me say this.
Hold on, y'all. Is the officer still on? I got a question for the officer.
Yeah, I'm still in here.
Okay, and I don't mean what's your name, bro? I don't mean to call you officer.
JR.
If I'm a homeowner, right?
Yep.
And I see some suspicious activity at my neighbor's house, do I have the same rights as my house or no?
No, not in regards to like the castle doctor as far as protecting his home with deadly force, but you have the right to call the officers, but you don't have necessarily that those rights of the NC castle doctor aren't extended to you for somebody else's home or somebody else's vehicle.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the young lady said that he was jogging in the back roads of Georgia and these two white men had his gun. Why would he be even jogging in that area if he should be fearful for other people that live back there? Why jog in that area?
Well, he shouldn't be fearful.
What?
You said
why is he jogging?
Georgia. You said you used the back roads of Georgia as a description of where he was at. Like there was something like he shouldn't have been there anyway. Why jog there if you're just going for exercise? You can run around your house for exercise.
Where do you live? Do we know where he lives?
Good point. That's fair. I think we assume.
Do we know? Was he a homeowner? Do you live in a neighborhood? Like
So
if he was a homeowner, he would know not to go into people's houses.
Wait a minute. I'm confused here. So when you guys closing your home, there's like a manual for new homeowners? Like, is there like a new etiquette for homeowners? Because I didn't get that manual when I bought my house. You guys help me out. You guys keep saying homeowner, like homeowner gives you this title, like y'all gonna come outside.
I don't know.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm gonna mind our business.
if I'm a
What I'm saying,
So I think,
Marvin,
I think, I think there's some
oh no, excuse me,
nah,
there's
catch
some
what I'm
issues.
saying. Catch what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if I'm not home, right, and there's somebody in my house, and there's somebody in my house, right?
Wait, let's go back to the fact that this was
I
a
want
open
my neighbor to
construction house.
hit me up.
Yeah, that's fair. We still gotta
Open.
leave it at the fact that it was
Open.
a owned home, but it was
Open.
vacant.
Open
It doesn't matter.
It ain't even been, they ain't even closed yet. They ain't even closed on and signed the papers. It ain't nobody's home.
No, it is
somebody's
somebody's home.
What
He was
you talking
remodeling.
about?
It wasn't the person who killed him. It was their damn home.
No, it wasn't their home. It wasn't their home. But
That's it. That's it.
My
it
point
could have
is
been a
this.
car. I could
If
be a
you
car
ain't
owner.
doing
I
nothing
could be
wrong,
a homeowner. I said,
why
only
do you
because
take
I
off?
own it and it's mine. I used the word homeowner because he was in the home. Had he been in the car, I would say the owner of the car. It's owner
No,
because
we're not.
it's theirs
But-
and not his.
Correct.
It's not about.
But it wasn't theirs.
It was not theirs. Are we not? We
That's
have
what
to.
I'm saying. They should not have killed the boy. He should have
Correct.
kept running, man.
Okay, so
I
you
think
can't.
we all in agreement that they
I'll
shouldn't have
give y'all
killed
a
him.
good real
They
time
should not have killed him. He should have kept jogging like he was. He should have kept jogging.
Get out of here.
I have
Here's
a
the
good real
kicker
time
to
example.
the whole thing is this is the difference in black people and white people. You know what they did? They stuck together. They told a story, and those white people stuck together to
Here we
protect
go.
those white people. That is what happened. That is why they were free for 2 months, because they stuck
I ain't
together.
no lies though.
So it doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
That's what it's gonna boil down to. It's the fact of the matter is
I
that
agree.
all those people in those high positions that we're not training our little black boys to go take, because that's what we should be doing
Exactly.
as parents in the community, is training our kids to go get those same positions that they have.
Absolutely.
For we can stick together.
Yes.
So how
Yeah,
do we
that's
stick?
fair.
So how do we stick together for this young man then?
Well, wait.
Miss Williams? No, Miss Williams.
How do we stick together for
this young man?
We got to get out in the communities and do things. We got to go out here and save these little boys that are in these gangs that think that, hey, this is my family, because that's not their family. They're not teaching them anything worth learning when you're in the schools. In the schools, you know who I teach high school right now. And if I see little boys, not little boys, they think they're grown or whatever. If I see them doing something wrong, I'm going to correct them just like I want somebody to correct my kids if they're doing something wrong. That is what you are supposed to do.
And them boys will say, yes, ma'am, and then go shoot somebody too. Because a lot of gangsters have a lot of respect.
Right.
They're very mannerable.
Yeah, they're true. They have
these boys that
podcasts
kill
too.
people are not just little thugs. Some of them are very mannerable. I say, yes, ma'am, I love you. Bring you an apple every day and be in the hood, and he a triple OG.
And be held accountable when they do, because you're coming to see me. You're coming to see me.
Hey, but another thing we didn't recognize is these white boys acted like a militia as well, because the way they was they moving like a militia though.
Absolutely.
And another thing is the way they build communities is they build communities based on protection. So we very weak and vulnerable. We'll shoot a blood or crip, but we ain't gonna shoot no, you know what I'm saying, no person that's coming to the neighborhood to cause problems. And we not just, they real protective though. And they understand that Birdo, they understand that the property value is dictated based on stuff like crime rate. So they own it. They're not individual homeowners like we are. They think it's collective. So yeah, they moving like a militia, man. We gotta, and that's just something that we can't grasp because we not own it like that. We like, shit, he ain't breaking my shit, he good. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just another way to look at it. I think them white boys about to be before the quarantine.
I agree with you, Malik. And the way I look at that is that we can't just kind of give passes. We have to make sure that we're taking the necessary steps on our end to strategize. And if somebody, listen, I had a car sitting out in front of my house that we won't drive in, right? So if there was a little boy breaking into my car in the neighborhood, I would want somebody in the neighborhood to take responsibility if I'm not there. I would want my neighbor across the street
And call 911.
Let me call the police.
What do you want them to do? Call the police,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, we
Grab
call
the strap.
the police.
Grab the strap.
I'm
No,
not justifying
Grab
no
the
killing.
strap.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm
He's
not
not
justifying no
joking.
killing,
That's
and I don't want nobody to think I'm saying it was okay for them to kill him. What I'm saying is that the strategy, y'all saying, oh, mind your business. No, I don't want my neighbor to mind their business if somebody's in my stuff.
Well, also take it a step further for me personally, and in all seriousness, I feel like we go hard for the barbecue Beckies and these racist people gunning down our black people, but we don't have that same passion when it comes to crimes committed by our own in our own community. And it's
That's
not
because
just. Go ahead.
And the reason we don't, because so many people want to bring black on black crime. When these situations happen, when we see these unjust police killings, when we see all this, everybody wants to bring black on black crime into it. And what if you're going to bring black on black crime into it, I think what you really need to focus on is those deeply rooted issues within ourselves, that those type of mental restraints were created. If you read things like the Willie Lynch letter, those things were created for us to have self-hate, to tear each other down. So there's been this mindset. You don't just take a race of people, you don't enslave them for 400 years and expect them to all of a sudden, once slavery ends, to get out of it. It's going to take double that for us to get out of this mindset. And because we still have embodied that mindset which they created in the Willie Lynch letter for us to hate each other, for the black woman to hate the black man, for the black man to be stripped from the family of the home. We have created these things, or they have created, and we just continue to have that enslaved mindset. So it's a mental thing that we have to break if we want to see those things. You can't just bring up black on black crime. Those things have to change within. It's gonna take longer. We've been mentally enslaved for so many years because they knew that physical bondage was never gonna last. But if you start talking about mental bondage, then you can encapsulate a race of people for an eternity if you start looking at it that way.
Look,
Right, and I agree. And just to clarify, for me, it wasn't about. Hold on. It wasn't about black on black crime, but it was about our inability to call out our own mess. We got too many abusers, too many molesters, too many murderers that we are comfortable with hiding that based upon a lot of what you just said. And I think that's the problem. We don't necessarily have to put them in front of the law per se, but we got to find a way to start helping these deep-rooted mental issues and diseases such as this molestation and abuse and things that we, instead of addressing, we kind of just sweep under the rug.
That's good.
Instead of getting the man help, it's just the uncle that you can't leave your kids around. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like until we start addressing our stuff, we're not going to really solve a problem, because it's been said before, we would be wrong to think that another race is going to solve our problems or make a way for us to be great. We're going to have to find a way to do that internally. But, I'm going to pass it on.
Hey, Jeremy, just check this out. People keep saying you should call the police. You see something, you should call the police. So I'm 6'4", about 260. I hit the gym super hard, and I got stuff at the house that'll help you get out of here. And so if I live on a street full of single mothers, and I hear a lady crying, and she just got beat in the head, and I see a man running out of her house after he done beat her, and she's, not able to, do anything. Should I just call the police, or should I get on his ass?
You call the police.
Come on
Which
over.
one?
No.
Right.
Call the police?
No, get on his ass.
Yeah.
I just had to do the wardrobe change because of our police officer we got over there.
I see you, big dog. I see you. I respect it, bro. I respect it.
He got that.
Nah, Malik, go ahead. Finish. I ain't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just saying, like, what should we relegate ourselves to being people who call the police, or should we protect our community? And I think a lot of that stems from the fact that a lot of us don't know what a man's supposed to be, because the last man that people really knew was their great-grandfather, their grandfather.
Yeah, and also too, JR, you touched on it earlier in a way. I'm recently introduced into the gun world. I mean, I was kind of a proponent of guns and the whole nine. And recently for sport, I started going to the ranges and stuff. And what I noticed is white men teach their sons how to protect themselves.
And they there all day long.
And we can talk about protect themselves from black people or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But these men are showing their sons how to keep
and
people off
daughters
their shit.
and daughters.
And it is something that I feel like is severely lacking in our community. Meaning we don't respect what a gun is and the power it possesses. And so by the time these young boys get a hold of one, you know, it's chaos. But I see the complete opposite when I go to the range dealing with other races. It's a different narrative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good, man. I think that's something that's not talked about a lot. You know what I mean? And me raising, and I have 2 girls, man. So, you know, being a cop and being involved in having guns in my home, I think that that ideology is going to be totally different for me, you know, raising my kids, because you start talking about, you know, 50B orders and restraints. That's just a piece of paper. So I want them to be able to protect themselves, just as I've learned how to protect myself. My dad, I didn't start shooting a gun until I became a police officer. So I didn't start shooting guns until 10, 12 years ago. Never touched one. I always picked up a football, but never touched a gun until I was, you know, 22 years old. So I think that's something that I want to teach my kids. And I already talked about, you know, I got a 5-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. And my 5-year-old and both of my 2-year-old, they know that these guns that are in the house, they're not in their reach. But I'm not going to keep unloaded weapons in my house because I fear that they won't know how to use them. They'll be in a safe location to where they can't get them. At the same time, leaving unloaded guns in my residence won't happen. But that comes through proper training. And it's something that we need to do to our kids, teaching our kids how, because you're not just saying whether you're protecting yourself from the white man, whether you're protecting yourself from I mean, it's anybody. I mean, there's anybody can be anybody can be attacked.
A lot of our black kids don't respect guns at all because all they see them on is TV.
That's real.
That's why this dude think he gonna wrestle somebody with a gun. And I'm like, dog, this dude got a shotgun. Why aren't you running? Why are you going towards him?
So can I speak to that? Because I hear a lot of people saying that this kid attacked the traffic.
He didn't attack. It wasn't an attack.
So here's what I think happened, man. I think what you saw in the video is I think we saw him trying to get away. So for some people, it's easy for everybody to say, well, if you ain't done nothing wrong, why you run? We think constantly like that. We think that people who have been here long enough on Earth know if you ain't done nothing wrong, there's no need to run it. But how many times as a kid did you see the cop come in the neighborhood and everybody said 12 and everybody took off running? It's happened to me.
Exactly.
And every time
he's 25, He's 25.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if he's 25. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter if he's 25, bro. But you don't.
Say how many times as a kid we can't use the kid reference? He's a grown man.
A man.
How many times? Okay, so how many times? Okay, so let's go a different route. There's plenty of times where I ride when I'm going through Medical Terrace, where I ride through Bragg, where I ride through there, and people start dispersing because I ride through the neighborhood. There's no need to disperse if you don't feel like there's a threat. So why do people take off running behind houses? And I'm talking about 25, 26-year-old men. Why do they take off running when I pull up on the corner? Why
they're doing wrong?
They're just standing there. They just standing there.
What if they're just standing there? What if they're not doing anything on it? And they're wrong because they're taught to fear the police.
Yeah,
I don't know about that one, bro.
I'm not afraid of police. I'm not afraid of police if I ain't doing that.
Yeah, they running. Either they got a warrant or they got something on them. I feel like, you know
if I see a police car ride by, I might tighten up, but I ain't about to take off running. For what?
Yeah, but you aren't. But what about these other young brothers that don't
got warrants?
That don't mean they have a warrant.
Now let me ask you this, because I asked Duck this earlier. Do you think that confrontation or that encounter would have been totally different had those guys not approached him with those guns, standing on the back of the trucks with a shotgun out? Do you think that encounter would have been?
They were 100% in the wrong. They're the reason why there was a confrontation.
Well, JR, did you see the other video from the house across the street?
I did. Where the woman, somebody looked like somebody came out and called him out. Was like, "Hey, what are you doing in there?" And then he
right. So, in my personal opinion, based upon that, he took off well before these white men ever started chasing him. So they just had to catch up to the party. He took off when he was getting confronted about being in that house. Is how I saw it.
Okay. So what's the point? What's the point? Yeah. What's your point?
No,
I don't understand your point.
He said would the narrative have been different if they didn't chase him down the street? And to me, the narrative was the same in regards to he took off well before that. Those two white men weren't the reason that he started running. It was my point.
So say if when the neighbor said, "Hey, what are you doing there? And he stopped. He said, oh, I was just admiring the house. And he just started casually walking away.
Why would you get back in the tub? No, I'm not.
What would have been? So what should have took place then?
That's all I'm saying. I don't think it goes down if he gets confronted and he ain't doing nothing, and that neighbor asks him what's up, and he say, "Hey, I'm just looking around."
So why'd they have the guns out then?
Cause they were country boys do. They were country boys.
But JR,
no, correct.
Were the guns out initially, or that's part I couldn't see?
They were shooting in the air.
So this is what happened.
Like
this is what happened because you got to start looking at this. But there's other reports that's out there that's available in the public. So what happened was based upon that statement. They said that they said they saw him previously, not that same day, but they saw him previously. But the last couple weeks they've been having all these reports, people breaking in. They saw him go down his pants weeks ago. That they saw this person that fit the description go down his pants, and they thought that he may be armed.
With a history of burglary.
No,
that's not fair, Roger. Because they won't even know reports.
No.
That's not fair, Roger.
No, he ain't have burglary, but
there's no history of burglary. Stop it.
And how would they know that? You know what I mean? That's not fair.
Because he an ex-cop. All he got to do is look it up. Look up the book. He an ex-cop.
There was no history. Let's let that go.
So you telling me this dude ain't had no criminal record?
What I'm saying is, at that point in time, nobody knew him or his criminal record. They didn't know who this man was.
Okay.
They just knew he was black.
I believe that though. I don't think
did he live in that neighborhood?
To be honest, I think they just wanted to kill some Negro. Kill a Negro.
Me too.
So, but we live in a country where there's people like that.
So correct. That doesn't make it right. That's my whole point. It doesn't make it right.
It don't make it right, but shoot, I know I just bought me a treadmill.
No, but shoot though, Roger. It don't make it right.
Bullshit. Roger's bullshit.
I bought me a treadmill, and you can say, "Oh,
because you scared to run outside, so you're not gonna run outside."
You scared to run around your neighborhood? Yes.
What's the strategy?
I am. I don't want to die. I got 3 kids.
What homeowner is scared to run around his own neighborhood?
What?
Yeah, that ain't right.
Sorry. I'll be that. I ain't about to get shot.
Not a homeowner.
So you say.
Look.
Now look, we about to
get out of here.
I got too much.
We about to close it out.
To live for.
We about to close it out in a sec. I wanted to give everybody on the phone one opportunity to get a closing statement. So appreciate everybody who's joined. This has been way better than I could imagine. I thought we had some great dialogue and a lot of different point of views, but I think for the most part we're on the same page. That being said, let me start with Danielle. What you got for me?
Well, personally, I would just appreciate that you post no more videos about Ahmaud, because in my head, the only thing that's relevant is from when we saw the first video when the two men were had the guns. I don't care about any other video. So I personally I'm asking for everyone on Facebook, could you just stop it and use your platform for other things?
Potentially. All right. Thank you for that. All right, Shauna, what you got?
At the end of the day, I don't give a damn if he robbed the entire neighborhood. Call 911. I am not judge, jury, and the law. I'm going to call 911. If someone is robbing my neighbor next door, I'm calling 911. I'm not going outside, hey, what you doing? That's none of my damn business. I'm calling 911. And that's it. That's me.
Boom. All right. Malik in Australia, what you got for us?
Hey, y'all just stay tight and just stay out of the way. Like I said, I'm very far away from it, so it's like, bro, I just can't even. It's a lot of the stuff ain't even relatable no more. So, I just feel like black people just need to tighten up on all levels. And when you got a situation like this, and you think it's wrong, you think these white boys did wrong, that's when you got to get the boys in black with the duct tape and the sniper rifle and just get them out of here. Them boys shouldn't have went to trial. If they killed some Armenians, they wouldn't have went to trial. You kill some Armenians or some Russians on tape, you're not going to trial, bro. You're not going. And everybody's so silent about it that that'll be a cold case and it'll be closed. And we just move. We look for justice where there is no justice. The court system, calling the police, that shit ain't never done nothing for black historically and now. So we gotta look at some other options. All this T-shirts and all this printing shit out. I look at it, it's like, okay, that's good, but that's been like ineffective for the last 60 years.
Amen. Preach.
So, but like I said, man, I can't tell y'all what to do. I live on another planet.
I know that's right, brother.
Hey, you got
Roger,
right here.
over to you, and then we're gonna go to Duck after Roger.
Hey man, Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. At the end of the day, I don't feel like I can control what anybody else do. I don't feel like we can control what anybody else do. All we can do is control what we do. And in that context, I don't rock with the fact that he got killed. I think them guys need to go to jail forever. I think they don't need to go to jail. I think they need to get the death penalty. But if it's my son, if it's advice that I'm giving to the next black man that wants to decide to go and look in a house that don't belong to him, my advice to that black man would be, hey, don't do that, because it's a matter of life and death, period. So I just think we got to be wise about the situations we put ourselves in. Not to say that we deserve to die. I just think that we can be wise and lower the risk of us getting killed. Period. So,
Duck, what you got, Duck?
I agree with what Sean said. You know, they should have just called the police, man. And I mean, they got a positive ID on him. I mean, he didn't take anything. He wasn't posing a threat. So those guys were definitely wrong. And they brought the tension to the scene. They created a scene for murder to take place. You know what I'm saying? At the hands of them, where very well the police could have killed him too. That being said, the police is who protected him from being arrested for so long. He went all those days without being arrested because I believe one of the guys was former law enforcement. So who's to say that the police that came wouldn't have killed him? Right. So, like Sean to say, call the police, and young man, just keep running. Keep running.
Latif, you are up, my dear. What you got for us?
I just feel like we just gonna have to have some real life conversations with our children, because the world is not fair, and it's sad that it's not fair for our Black kids, and we just gonna have to have some real life conversations with them. And I agree with Shauna and Duck that they should have called the police instead of trying to take justice into their own hands, because that was not their job. And just stay prayed up, everybody.
Now, Ebony joined late. Did you have anything for the people as we closing out?
No, I agree with what Ronald said, and I can't see his name on this one. I didn't get to hear Shauna, but I think it's sad that we even have to have these conversations with our kids because they're guilty just by the color of their skin. So I think in that, just dealing with the reality of having to tell our kids, no, it's not okay to go look in a house that's under construction, or it's not okay to have a hood on your head and be walking home with Skittles in your hands. I think that's a big worry for a lot of us. I'm raising a Black little boy as well, and that's not even a conversation that I know how to formulate for my 9-year-old. So the new reality is really a bad reality. But I agree with you.
Ain't going on.
Roger, your time is up.
Yeah. Thank you, Roger. JR, you up, and I really appreciate you. I kind of saved you for last. I think you gave a different and awesome perspective coming from a law enforcement standpoint, but also from a father standpoint. So what do you have for us?
I think the biggest thing, man, we got to take away from this is we got to start seeing the underlying issues that a lot of these things are starting to uncover. One, it shows the importance of how we have to learn how to, one, like we said, get our kids in these positions. One, we got to vote. Why is a DA on the task force or on there? She has these abilities and these indiscrepancies that nobody knows about. It goes to show that we have to vote to get these people out who are racist and we have these deep underlying issues to hope to not want to persecute somebody because, hey, that's my friend. So it uncovers a lot of truths, but at the same time, we got to read. We have to be tied to emotions. I hear a lot of people saying, stop wearing, facts over feelings. Well, we have to understand the emotions are going to be tied to this, because now we're seeing black kids, black young men, we're seeing them get killed over and over and over again by the police or by random white people over and over again. So there is an emotional attachment to it, because people shouldn't be exposed to that. I've seen a lot of stuff being a police officer in 10 years that I wouldn't dare hope that the normal human or anybody in here would have to see. So the fact that we're seeing it on social media, we're going to be emotionally attached to it. The fact that there's a white man killing another black man we're going to be tied to it because of just the historic, deep-rooted issues of racism in this country. But I think the biggest thing is we got to educate each other. We got to stay together. We got to continue to have this dialogue, this conversation going forward. And don't let it forget. Don't let this be more than just a hashtag. And continue to build upon it, continue to have this conversation and fight down and tear down these walls of social injustices, man.
Yeah, that's deep. And I guess for me to close us out, I guess my perspective to close out is a little different. I feel like we as blacks have gotten the short end of the stick, and we could spend days and years talking about all the layers around why we are in the position we're in. That being said, we are grown, thriving, successful in a lot of cases, and a lot of that is on your own back, meaning you ain't asked nobody for nothing, ain't nobody did nothing for you. You went out and handled your business. That being said, we still got to hear each other. We still have to find value in other people's opinions about topics and situations that affect us all. At the end of the day, a lot of things I say are not factual, they're emotion-based, there are a lot of things, but I want to be heard just like you need to be heard. And we got to find ways to kind of meet at some type of common ground. But I think often we get away from that. And that's when we start using the terms coon or whatever else that kind of was prescribed today. And I'm not the political person, meaning I'm not going to fix every situation the right way. Sometimes I'm going to give you smoke with smoke, but I'm not saying it's right. And so for me, people make the world go round, not just black people. But we got to take care of your home first. And when I say home, I mean us first. But we got to find ways to make people always be people. You feel what I'm saying? We eat, die, breathe the same. We come and go the same. But we intertwine, and we intertwine a lot more than what we think. And we have power. We have buying power. We have media power. We have more power than we think. And I think it's funny that we can get to this level of consciousness about this, but how can we get to that same level of continued consciousness about things like Flint or educational value or things like that? And so for me, just people make the world go round. And as long as we put that forth, everybody's opinion should matter, but we need to find ways to work with each other. So again, this was dope. We got to do it again. I thank everybody for joining. I'm going to record it and post it for everybody to see. And like I said, I hope this clear up a few things for some people who weren't on the call, but also open some eyes to some others. And thank all y'all for joining. And this is another Removing Layers. I don't want to hang up on y'all, but I don't know how to end this without hanging up on y'all. Appreciate it.